And I'm not even going to put my earphones on for this because I can hear you really well.
Perfect.
And I'm going to read us in. So 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm here with Scott Manduck. Scott is grateful for his career he has had thus far. He was able to work with some of the largest brands in the world, including Google, Microsoft, Disney, and YouTube. With running his own printing company for years, he has always been looking for the next big product or thing to talk about to his clients. And he's got some amazing things to talk about today and share with us. Hi, Scott, and welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
I was really excited. We were just talking a little bit before we started recording, and I was really excited because we have some of the same interests and some of the same philosophies, which I love. But you have a powerful story of hope, and I would really love it if you could share it with all of us today.
For sure. So just a little bit of history, because I think the history part of into someone's journey is kind of makes it a little bit more interesting for people to kind of see how that hope and shift and pivot or whatever it may be that you're going through in life. It's really important to keep an open mind to a lot of things, especially when you're dealing with health issues. So I've been in printing and marketing my entire career. So it's been 25 plus years. I've been able to work with a lot of different printing companies, like you're saying, or agencies. Bombardier, Disney, Google. So I had to help them with their direct mail campaigns, come up with campaigns for them, create them, produce them, and mail them out around the world. So a lot of the stuff that you got on the mail from Google was from me. I apologize. It was recyclable paper. I'm telling you that. It's good for the environment. So that was a big part of what I did. So 9 years ago, it kind of started a whole new journey for us. When I say us, is my family. I have a beautiful wife, Andrea. I have 2 amazing kids, a 13-year-old daughter, an 11-year-old son. And my wife's been an ultrasound tech her entire career. For the most of her career, before that, she diagnosed cancer cells in a dark lab for many years. So we have a very Western medicine background in our family. My mom used to work at a hospital. So very Western medicine. And my wife started dealing with some issues, which we deem to call ultrasound shoulder, which is just a shoulder and neck and all these sort of things. The problem is it started to escalate fairly quickly into many other things, and which would be fogginess, tingling throughout your entire body. So when you sleep on your arm and it starts to wake up, it's super painful for like 10 seconds. That's our whole body from our head to our toes all the time. So I was like, what the heck is going on? So we started going through different types of doctors and specialists, neurologists, MRIs, ultrasounds, x-rays, blood work to the kazoo, you name it. And we just weren't finding what was going on. And even to this day, we still don't know what it is, but that journey to all that really led into a lot of different ailments, which was really stiff and sore muscles, aches and pains to her entire body. She could barely walk up a flight of stairs. It would literally be, she was 41 when she first started. She just turned 50 this year. And halfway through it, she couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. It'd be one step, wait, one step, wait. And it was absolutely horrible for her to go through that. And my heart wrenches to this day just remembering those moments. And then we came across a couple of things, which one is she's a smaller lady, so she's only about 135 pounds. We ended up finding that she has a lot of inflammation in her body. We weren't sure what that was from. So we started looking into different diets, talking to dietitians and stuff like that. And we came across an amazing book by Dr. Amy Myers, The Autoimmune Solutions. So that book really gave us a kick in the pants, really, to look holistically, saying, okay, we could do a lot of stuff with food. Let's take a look at it. And nutritionists, it's funny because they started giving us these types of foods which are more greenery, dark greens and stuff like that. But once she reduced her inflammation, she was still having issues with a lot of her joint pain and stuff. So we started looking at high oxalate foods. When we started looking into oxalates, which are in some of the healthy foods that we typically would eat if you're not in chronic pain, which would be like kale, not cooked broccoli, almonds, legumes and stuff like this, which typically would be healthy for most people, but that there stores in your body, if you're dealing with inflammation, it stores in your body, doesn't process it properly, it has the same effect as inflammation. And we found that she needed to go on a low oxalate diet, which we actually found some really good Facebook pages and good old Dr. Google, because it's about hope. Because the doctor is saying, you're going to be like this for the rest of your life. And it's like, no, we're not. And we just kept on searching and searching and searching. We found these other tools on how to basically reduce our oxalates in our diet. And that got her to a certain level with a lot of her pain, and her tingles wasn't as bad. So then we're probably about, I don't know, 2 years in, and we started, she had 2 root canals done, and we started going through her teeth, and it was always tender, hot, cold, was really bothering her, stuff like that. We're trying to figure that stuff out. And the dentist kept on saying, everything's fine, we've x-rayed it. And this is going over like a year and a bit now, going back and getting different x-rays, different dentists to check on it. Nothing happened. Once again, not giving up. And it's like, this is just ridiculous. Something's wrong, because I could feel it. I can feel like it's swollen. We found through a Facebook page, yet again, that someone posted in doTERRA, that we found that there's a thing called a cone scan, which is like an MRI for your mouth. And it's kind of one of those things that I didn't really want to believe, because we found in a documentary called The Root Cause that your teeth are very connected to your body. They're almost like the breakers to your body. I didn't know this. My wife didn't know this. So we watched this documentary, and it's like, holy crap, this is like her life, literally. And it was phenomenal. So we went to a holistic dentist and ended up having them removed, the 2 root canals. Literally that night, it was like, it was instantly, eye pressure was gone. Focus was starting to come back a little bit. She could actually walk up the stairs slightly, like a little bit faster. And I was like, are you kidding me? From your teeth? So we were kind of freaking out that that was happening. And lo and behold, when we had those 2 teeth taken out, and for people that understand how a root canal is, they take the roots out, put screws in, but they leave a little gap at the end of that tooth. That's still part of inside your body. Inside that gap is a breeding ground for bacteria. It's warm and it's moist, and it's always warm and moist, and it's in your body. So we actually ended up taking that extraction 2 teeth, put them in a container. We sent them to the States to have a biopsy done of those 2 teeth. Lo and behold, she had 16 different types of bacteria growing inside of her body for 6 years. It was unbelievable. So when you're dealing with chronic pain and chronic issues that doctors can't really figure out what's what, look at your teeth. Like, there's a huge thing in that documentary. I'm not sure if you saw the documentary, but women with breast cancer, they said it's like 73 or 74% have a root canal on the same side as the breast cancer. So if it's on your left side, the root canal is on the left side. It's absolutely phenomenal. So with that being said, we kept on going down the holistic way, because this holistic doctor gave us a lot of really good tools and information to deal with. And because of the extraction, we didn't want to use as many antibiotics as possible because of what we were going through. So then our good friend Tamara introduced us to doTERRA. And once we started to do that a little bit, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, these snake oils are not going to do anything. That was my mentality, because I'm a Western medicine guy. And we used it a little bit, didn't really do much of it. And then there's that one night that kind of gave me my aha moment, as Oprah says. And that made me jump 2 feet in. And I was downstairs watching a movie. My wife's in the bedroom, and I hear some crying. So I'm like, oh man, what happened? So I went upstairs. She's in the fetal position on the floor, bawling her eyes out in pain. So I'm like, what in the heck is going on? So I'm like, I'm just going to call 911. It's like 11:30 at night. We have 2 kids. And she's like, just give me a second. It's like, okay. So we have literally this little container thing. We have 2 now, that's in our bedroom. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I said, but you know what? I have lemongrass here and I have lavender. I said, that's the quickest thing that I got. So we have a bottle of carrier oil. I squeezed it in my hand. It went all over me, all over the floor. And I put a little bit of lemongrass, a little bit of lavender, and I was rubbing it all over her belly. And then I'm sitting in front of her like this, like, so am I calling 911? Like, are you okay? And it was about 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds, which felt like 4 hours. The pain was gone. So I was like, what in the heck just happened? Like, did you toot? Like, I'm trying to make a joke of it, because it's like, what the heck? And she's like, no. I'm like, so what can I put on your belly? And I'm looking at the bottles. I'm like, lemongrass and lavender. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm trying to make the connection on what that was and what you're dealing with and how it helped you. And that moment, I told her that tomorrow morning I'm calling my team and I'm taking like a 1 week sabbatical, and I'm going to try to figure out what essential oils are, how they work, how fast they work in your body, and how they could do what just happened last night from saving us from literally going to the hospital through an ambulance. Like, to me, that was just like, oh my grace. And from that day forward, we implemented essential oils, supplementation, all the different things that doTERRA has to offer into our family. And it was the best choice we ever made. And if you want to fast forward a little bit, we've now been just under 3 years. She's 100% off all medications. She was on Lyrica, which is a nerve blocker for your body. She was on Percocets. She was on antidepressants. She was on one more that I cannot recall, as well as CBD oil. She was on all of those nonstop every single day. And it was killing her gut. With that, it also gave her leaky gut because of all the medications and antibiotics she was on. So we can now say, knocking on wood, that we're now 100% medication free thanks to doTERRA's essential oils, and that was our journey with that part of it. Now fast forward a couple of years, she's still not 100% out of the woods, but she's a billion times better because she's now off all those pain meds. She can now sleep, she can walk up the stairs properly. We were playing badminton yesterday. She's playing basketball, just shooting around and stuff like that. It's not like she can run marathons yet, but the life that she's having now is way better than it was 5-6 years ago, thanks to doTERRA. And now fast forward to last year, she was still having issues with energy. And energy has always been a big thing. And we've tried all the different essential oils and supplementations and Mido2 Max and all these different things. And it's just not helping. We don't know what it is. We started coming across frequency healing. A friend introduced us to that. And I was lucky enough to buy into this company with Steve Malusis, which you may not, you don't know him as of yet, but he's a doTERRA Canadian founder here in Canada with Kimberly Malusis. So I partnered with him and his son in this company after we actually ran it through a bunch of tests because we didn't believe in it as well. We're just skeptical people by nature. And we wanted, from all the stuff that we learned, we have access to live blood test analysis very readily here in Toronto, in Canada. And so it's like, okay, let's put it to the test. So we talked to this small company, a very, very small company, and horrible branding, horrible marketing. It was just like, oh my God, this is horrible. But if the product works, the product works. So we talked to him. He's like, we want to take 3 of your bracelets and we want to put them to the test. And what it is, you ever heard of the Schumann resonance?
Yeah.
So we all know that we're vibrational beings, right? So we have vibrations in us. We're built on frequencies. So if you go to the hospital, you have a heart attack, what do? They rub the 2 paddles together and they shock you, right? Very common knowledge. So with that, we know that if we're vibrational beings, we know that the earth has a frequency from Nikola Tesla way back in the day where lightning hits the earth, which then gives it a vibration in a frequency of 7.83 hertz. So a good way to look at it is when you travel and you get out of the city and you go way up north, or you just get way out of the city where you barely have a phone signal. What happens to your body? Do you not feel like you have more energy, more focus, and all these things? Is it just the vacation, or what is that? And what it truly is on a cellular level, it's the EMFs around us, because we're all surrounded by EMFs. So EMFs being electromagnetic fields, which is cellular network, 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G coming on top of it, your Wi-Fi. Every house pretty much has Wi-Fi now, right? Everyone has a cell phone, right? Electrical outlets around you, your laptop, your big monitors, your TVs, all these things have radiation. That radiation plays on the cellular side of your body. So what we found is that with my wife being in ultrasound for so long and me being in printing so long, that the amount of radiation that our bodies are absorbing was affecting us on the cellular level. And you can actually do a live blood test. Just look it up, live blood test near me in Google. and you see the clinic around you, go get it done. You can actually see your blood being stacked like a little worm, right? And it's little hexagons. That's EMF damage to you on the cellular level. So what that does is it depletes the oxygen in your blood. So what we found with this product after we tested it was we did our live blood test analysis. We saw it up on a big 27-inch monitor. We could see our parasites. We could see our bacteria. We could see our immune system. It looks like a nice little star. You can see digestive proteins, but our blood cells were fairly clumped together and moving fairly slowly, right? So what we found after we did that, we recorded the whole thing. 8 days later, we actually did another recording with the 3 bracelets on that have the frequency put into the bracelets. It's not magnets, and it's not copper or any of this sort of stuff. It's literally a bracelet that has been imprinted with a frequency. It lasts forever. So that there, we found that the blood was now separated and it was actually moving. So what does that mean? So if your blood is now separated and it's actually moving, that means it's more oxygenated. When it's more oxygenated, what can happen when your blood is in an oxygenated state? Parasites can't grow. It kills off parasites, right? Bacteria has a hard time growing when you have an over-oxygenated body. We know this, right? There's a few other main ailments. The C1 has a hard time when things are oxygenated. That's why they have like oxygen tanks and all these other things, right? But you can't live in an in an oxygen tank, right? You can't. So we tested. So Steve and I hired a live blood technician to come to my office. I own a building here in Pickering. It was expensive, but we wanted to put it to a true test to different types of people, male, female, different age groups, different backgrounds of ethnicity. So there's African American, there's Asian, there's a kid, there's an old, young, all these different things. And we tested every single one of them. 8 days they came back, every single person had a huge positive response where their blood was separated and it started moving and parasites started to actually be, it was a huge reduction to 80 to 90% in every single person. So it's like, okay, this is good. Gave it to my wife. The first day, the second day, she didn't take a nap for the first time in years. It's like, holy crap, what do we have here? So then I gave one to, it's my best friend's mom, Peter. She's 89 years old, loves gardening. She's somewhat fairly active. And she's 89. She takes a couple naps. She no longer takes naps. She has 2 bracelets on. 89, she's now gardening again. Explain this to me. So we started digging deeper into it and we found that it was EMF damages to our body and to our cells. So now we have the best of the best. We now have doTERRA essential oils at their purest form, which most people may or may not know, essential oils have frequencies, right? So if essential oils have frequencies, we're vibrational and frequency beings ourselves. And now I'm adding the Schumann resonance on top of that to amplify what we already have with essential oils. It's a beautiful combination of what's happening. It's unbelievable, and it's changing people's lives in a very quickly, like beyond quickly. So another example, we just had a gentleman by the name of Peter, I can't remember, it's Peter's brother-in-law, Jim, and he's on our website right now actually because his testimonial was phenomenal. So he was diagnosed with extreme anxiety to the point where he couldn't drive. They took his license away. We got him to do the live blood test analysis. Within 8 days, his anxiety dropped by 80%. He's now driving again in 1 week, 8 days to be exact. He's wearing 2 bracelets.
Wow, Scott, I had no idea when we talked that this was going to be your topic because this is fascinating. Not only is it fascinating because I'm in the health and wellness field, multiple different types of devices without the kind of experimentation that you put behind yours, testing it out. Like people have been approaching me left and right, and I just started reading about all of this because it's so funny that we're acting like we just discovered. It's like kind of like me when I discovered essential oils and holistic medicine. Like, what is this new? I've never heard of this, but it's
Right?
old.
Yeah, I know it's thousands of years old, but we're just scratching the surface. It's like, what do you mean we're scratching the surface? I know it's unbelievable.
It's fascinating. Like And I did an interview a while back. I think it was like in May that we released it, with a really famous in the US. She's a very famous matchmaker. Like
Oh, that's cool.
millionaires hire her and to like
Wow.
make matches for them. But she had the same story as your wife's tooth. That was her story of hope, talking about how nobody knew and she kept getting sicker. She almost dies. And it turns out it was from a tooth that she said, like your wife, I knew all along something wasn't right.
Yep, for sure.
And her intuitive body was, by the way, our body's so intuitive that it will tell us. And then if we don't
Absolutely.
listen, it'll start presenting us with symptoms.
And more
And then if we
symptoms.
don't listen, it starts presenting us with breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely. You go down the rabbit hole then, right? Then you don't
Yes.
know what you're dealing with because that one starter symptom now turns into 5. So now you need to break away these 5 to get to the main root cause of the issue. And it, we hear it over and over again all the time. And it's like, oh man, why didn't I listen to myself? So that's unbelievable.
But fortunately for me, I have always been very intuitive and I've always listened and like, nope, something's wrong. I'm telling you something's wrong and I'm not accepting that. But people tell me all the time, like, oh, I'm not intuitive. I would never know. But they have that mom, what they call mom sense, mom intuitive.
Yep.
And that's like a spidey sense. And I know something's not right with my kids, or I know they're lying, or I know they're up to something.
For
You know
sure.
that. You really do know that about your bodies. You just choose to not listen because you're either busy or you just don't want to hear what it's saying. Like, I don't want to deal with this right now, so it's not happening.
Exactly, exactly. And that's part of us not listening. One is to your body, like you said, but not only that is not knowing what those little things are. Like they're on the back of my neck standing up. Should I be listening to that? Should I not be doing this? Like you need to be in tune with that. And people just, oh, whatever, I'll just go and do it. And that's, maybe it's an age thing. I don't know. I've been trying to pinpoint it for the past 9 years.
And one of the things that you said that is golden, like to me is like the golden nugget, is you said your wife didn't really get 100% back, right? She isn't 100%, but her
She's not.
quality of life is so much better, so
Huge.
incredible. And I tell people all the time when they ask me about doTERRA oils, look, I didn't grow my stomach back. Nothing is.
Exactly.
But my quality of life now, I climbed Machu Picchu. I just took an African
Wow.
tour. I ran a 200-mile relay with my daughter. And I don't run. People are like, what? You did what? But
Yeah,
my quality of life now is so much better for however long I'm here on this planet. That's the other thing. You know, we're not supposed to live forever. We're
that's
just
right.
not. We're not supposed to be here forever. Thank goodness, right? But during our journey here, why are we not thriving and living our
Exactly.
best life? We shouldn't be struggling to get upstairs or struggling to like get that energy level, or definitely we shouldn't be living in constant pain
Exactly.
or constantly getting those prescriptions. I'm like you. I only knew Western medicine. My husband's a veterinarian. My ex is an internist. I only knew medicine. And my faith was all in that. And it wasn't until I was so desperate, so sick and scared that I Googled desperate for help answers. So just like you, I got on there and Googled.
Dr.
And
Google.
yes, and all this magic started popping up, right? Like, where has this been all my life?
Exactly. Yeah,
Right in front of our faces, right? But we're like, no,
absolutely.
that's not for me.
Yeah, and it's true. And you need to be at the point of there's nothing else that I could possibly do. Screw it, I'll try it. And that's where it came to. And it's like, wow, what was I thinking? I should have did this years ago. It always happens. And when you help somebody with that, it's like, yeah, I talked to you 2 years ago about this stuff. Remember? It's like, oh man.
And if anything, if we could give you a message today, it's don't wait like us. We're
Don't.
desperate.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
today, you could be living that beautiful life that you're thriving in. Like today, you can create a new wellness journey. And I always tell people wellness isn't a destination. You will never get there.
Yep, it's a
Wellness
journey.
is a journey. It's something you work at every day. I could not use a drop of oil and think I'm ready to go for the rest of my life. Nope, it becomes part of my routine. I
That's
could
right.
not wear your bracelet one day and like, oh, my new blood work looks better and I'm done.
That's
No,
right.
it's a journey. It's like, and
That's
it's a
right.
beautiful journey.
That's right. And that's the best part about it. And we're building new and we're making new products now because like I said, my background is marketing, right? In business. That's what I went to school for many moons ago. And Steve and Kimberly, they have a fairly large doTERRA team, and they have a fairly large marketing network. And we're now utilizing our knowledge to help so many other people around the world because our teams are worldwide now. And it's not a product that's only good for like the United States, right? And that's where it was like, oh, but is it only in the States or is it only, no, it's worldwide. And that's what we need to really expand like doTERRA did, right? Now they're in every country in the world, literally,
I
right? It's
remember when we
phenomenal,
only had a few oils and we were just
right?
out with a few oils thinking you had all the goodness in the world and then they surprise you. Nope, there's more.
Yeah, exactly. And every year they're surprising us every year, saying, well, here's a new blend, here's a new oil, here's a new this, and it's phenomenal. So we're taking the same route with our products because of what it's enabled our bodies to do naturally. So like, let me give you an example. Like this just looks like just a lava bee bracelet, right?
Mhm.
It's not. So it's not about the product, it's what's in the product. So this product actually has the Schumann resonance in it, the 7.83 hertz. So when I actually put it on, right now your protons are doing this in your body, okay? They're all over the place because of all the EMFs around us. When you put it on, it's like earthing. So there's a great documentary called The Earthing Movie. It's in YouTube. You gotta watch it, it's phenomenal. So if people don't understand what earthing is, it's about the Schumann resonance and what it does to your cellular network and your nervous system in your body. So by me putting it on, some people are sensitive. So if you're actually sensitive to it, when you put it in your hand, you'll actually feel almost like your heartbeat in your hand. You'll feel energy coming up your arm. Some actually get pressure in the back of the neck and almost form a headache, right? When I first put a couple of them on, it felt like I had like 6 beers. It was like, what the heck is going on? It only lasts for a couple hours, but that was realigning my protons to the natural Earth's frequency. Then that's where my blood started zooming and it was moving around because that's what it's doing. It's taking your cells and separating them and giving your body more oxygen. And that's what it's doing in your body. So the next one that we actually created, which was in November, which is this one here, is very specific to higher ranges of EMF protection. We actually call this the 5G Defender Pro because this one here is the Earth's frequency, the gold one is the sun frequency, and the silver flat one here is colloidal silver for immunity. So with cellular networks like 4G and now 5G, it's actually blanketing the planet around us. So all the 5G, like Elon Musk, he has the approval from the government now to put all those satellites into lower orbit. That's actually stopping the sun rays and minimizing the rays, coming through to us. So we're going to get less of vitamin D that we need. And our body needs vitamin D. So we add that frequency into the bracelet. So you have the sun frequency, colloidal silver for immunity, and you have the earth's frequency. It's the most powerful 3 frequencies we have. And it's phenomenal. And the EMF protection from it there's like no other, because you got to protect a host. You got to protect you. So you see a lot of people and they have all those stickers on the back of their phone. That's great. You're protecting your phone. Awesome. What about you? Right? So say I take my phone and I put it 20 feet away from me. Am I still getting EMFs where I'm sitting? Absolutely. We have Wi-Fi. We have my laptop. I have a 27-inch monitor here. I got a 27-inch monitor here. My window's right here. I get all the cellular network. So even if I'm protecting my phone and I have a sticker on my laptop, it's not doing anything because it's not protecting me. Because you'll never be able to protect anything unless the thing is on you.
100%. I just love this. How many times do you have people come up to you seriously and say, no, I eat clean. I don't have any toxins in my home. And yet they're sick all the time. And I
Yep.
tell them, like, you could be doing everything right. There's only so much you can do for yourself. But what's around us, every time we walk out the door, every time, we walk on our grasses barefoot, like all these toxins are entering our body that we have no control over, are the EMFs. Like we just have no control, and we're never going to get control back from that unless you find a way to protect yourself from it.
Exactly. And that's what we found in last year. And it was one of those things that we talked about with my wife because we have an infrared sauna in our bedroom because of detoxing. We're doing heavily detoxing. It's all the heavy metals that she had in her body. And we saw an ad. It's like, man, you should check your saunas for EMFs. I'm like, EMFs? I never even thought of that. Are you kidding me? So we bought a tester and I was checking it out. I was like, okay, it's not bad. It's okay. It's not bad. Then I'm like, wait a second. We have a Wi-Fi router here. Our electrical panel is right beside our TV area, but it's on the other side of the wall, so you can't really see it. And I'm like, what about like cell phone towers and stuff? Does that like affect us?
Yes.
What about like battery operated cars, like the new the Tesla and stuff like that? Is that a problem? So I'm talking to Steve. He's like, it's funny you mentioned that because his son Jonathan can't sit in it. They have a Prius. He can't sit in the backseat of the Prius. It's instant car sick, instant. So he has to sit in the front seat. I'm like, so you mean there's EMFs coming from the electric cars? He's like, yeah. I go, dude, we got to try them with some bracelets, right? And it's like, it's one of those things you don't really think about on how much it affects your life until you try it. Then it's like, wow, okay, all right, this is good. And frozen shoulder, we have tons. We have over 5,000 testimonials for each ailment that we're talking about on our website. 5,000.
I feel like education is power. And if we're not educating ourselves and we're just going through the planet doing our thing, at one point in your life, there will come a moment. If it's not for you, it'll be for your child or your parent or someone you love. It's going to be this wake up moment. And where can they come to find more information about this? Because it is phenomenal.
For sure. So you can go to scottmanduck.com. That's one we'll have both. But you can go to essentialvibes.ca. That's our website for the bracelets. There's tons of information. There's actually a really good video that we did of Carissa. So she's younger than us, healthy. And we did a live blood test on us that we actually recorded the before and after within 4.5 hours of what happens to her on a cellular level. And that will blow your eye. Will blow your mind. And that's at essentialvibes.ca. And we ship all over the world.
We're going to put those definitely in the show notes so that you guys can go and educate yourself, check out the products. Everyone who knows me knows I do not talk products, but every once in a while, something so incredible, so holistic, so it's not doing harm to your body. Because I always say, first do no harm. And sometimes they come up with this great product and I'm like, well, wait a minute. That's not that great for you. It sounds great in theory, but this is like, does no harm at all.
No harm. It's only good for you.
Exactly.
There's nothing. It's 100% natural.
That.
It's crystals. It's minerals. We're putting into different things, and it's about the Earth's frequency. Remember, that is the core of our baseline, right? It's like the LLV with doTERRA. It's your baseline to health. It's the beginning of what we should be doing. It's the same thing. It's just at a frequency level. And we find that when your body is vibrating at the right frequency, your body then basically absorbs that and naturally wants it. And we're giving our bodies the tools to heal itself. It's not that this is healing us. It's that it's giving us the tools to heal itself. And that's what it's all about. And we're creating tons of different things for that because of what 5G is coming around. And we need to make sure that we're protected.
For those of you,
we have resellers now all over too.
For those of you who don't understand about grounding, my oldest daughter is a doctor of natural medicine, and she's doing her thesis right now on grounding, essential oils, and vibration. Because she has you sleep with brain things on and ring fingers that are monitoring through your sleep to see how deeply it's amazing.
I got to talk to her. Now you're getting me all excited.
It's really crazy. And here's the other thing. You can go on and check out what happens to the astronauts as they move further and further and further from the Earth's gravity, from grounding, and how that affects their bodies. It's incredible. Like you take advantage of the fact that what's put here on Earth is amazing for us. It helps our bodies keep giving and taking and moving. So I love what you're doing. I think this was so fascinating. I'm really excited. And thank you so much for sharing that. You guys go check out his website, educate yourselves, and look at something that this is safe for kids, and you can be protecting your children. It is safe for kids, right? I don't see how it could not be.
So I have 2 kids, and they have 2 each, and they put them on their ankles actually because they're both into heavy sports, and you can't have anything on your wrists. I have a good friend of mine who has a newborn. I think he is now 3 months old, and he has 1 bracelet on each ankle. So absolutely. Remember, it's the Earth's frequency, right? It's 100% good for you to have that in grounding your nervous system. And not only that, there's frequencies to help the parents, the moms, when they're actually giving birth to reduce the actual pain. There's specific frequencies for different things. So we're testing these different frequencies to get up to 5,000 testimonials, and then we'll actually launch that frequency, and that's how we launch them. And we're doing some more testing with doTERRA essential oils because we know like frankincense has a very specific frequency, right? So if you can picture that frequency, which I think is like 147 if I'm not mistaken, and I have a lava bead bracelet like so set to the exact frequency of say frankincense, right? What will happen to frankincense when I put it on top of its natural frequency and I wear it? What would happen?
I don't know.
Right? But that's the testing that we're doing right now because of the possibilities is beyond phenomenal. We think it's going to amplify the essential oil to its extreme possibility because it's a natural frequency that your body naturally wants to absorb. The same with frankincense, right?
I
Because
love
it's
it.
natural, especially doTERRA's, because our body naturally wants natural things. So we're really diving into that deeply, and sometime this year we'll be having I'm praying that we're going to have a big launch with something big like that because it's super powerful. We do it every single day here now.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for sharing your story. It was so powerful, and this is really a bunch of goodness. So, if everyone just goes and checks out his site, ask questions like that. Definitely ask questions, get
For sure.
involved. Find out what you're offering your family, but know there's possibilities for you. So, thank you, Scott.
Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it, guys. And there is hope out there. There's lots of goodness. Remember, all natural stuff only.
Yeah.